Okay, you made it to part 3. One small step left and we have a visually similar, accurate mock-up of TikTok. So we're almost there. So how you create this effect, you see how it fades, is that we need to use something called a mask. So how do you create the mask? Is basically you create a rectangle with a gradient in it, and this gradient has a transparency to it. So it goes from transparent to non-transparent. So as you can see with this example, it goes from transparent to gray. So basically you set that out and you set the right widths, and then once you're done, you click this button up at the top here, and then that is your mask. And you make sure everything that you want to be masked is in a group or in a frame, and everything is above the layer that's doing the masking. So I'm gonna fix up this gradient a bit. Okay, and then this one too. Okay. So now this is following the UI that we were given. Okay, and now we need to add the song or the music icon to it. So what was the height of this one? It's 15. Okay. We make this one 15 as well. The X position is okay. They're the same X position, and now we just turn this into a group and rename it song title. Oh, I may have accidentally deleted the description, so we're gonna redo that. Water break. Okay. So now that we have all these assets lined up, something cool about Figma is that you can set an auto layout, so the spacing will change depending on how depending on the contents inside that group. So if you want to set auto layout, just make sure you select everything and then you click Shift A and it should set up auto layout. Now automatically it'll distribute everything evenly, but from what we can see, it's an 8 pixel spacing. So I'm gonna set these auto layout spacing instructions to change from 21 to 8, and there we go. And make sure everything is aligned to the left, because that's how we set it up. So what's cool about this, let me just create a dark background for you to see. What's cool about this is that I accidentally moved it out of the auto layout. So yeah, just make sure you drag the actual frame and not the shape. So we're gonna rename this actually description. Okay. Let me add the dark background again. So look, if we reduce the amount of lines, then the components actually rearrange themselves to fit. And if we type something out again, so Izzy going to teach the tutorial on Figma, recreating the TikTok app. Okay. So now we have the description, and we are going to turn this into a component as well. So the last thing we have to do is the for you. I've actually already arranged it here, so we just need to copy that. Make sure it's lined up properly. Okay, so this. Oh, okay. Let's just move this out of the way so it doesn't interfere with anything. Okay, now I'll move this a bit to the side, and there's actually this really thin line in between the two, so we'll add that. I'm gonna assume it has like a 0.5 pixel width. And for this, let's use our white, and then we'll change the opacity of that to 60 to match the nav bar. Now we need to change the color of this, and let's turn this into a group. Actually, no, we'll turn this into a frame. So Command Alt or Command Option G. And now it's a frame. If you want to change the dimensions of a frame without dragging the contents, you click Command and then drag an edge. So we're gonna match this to the edge of this mockup device. And we're gonna call this the For You tab. And as you guessed, we're gonna turn this into a component as well. So component, cool. Now we don't need this anymore. We already have all the assets. Oh, actually, there's still one more that we need to set up. And that is the little disk icon at the bottom. So let's recreate that. We're gonna do this quickly because I don't think it's that important or that interesting. So just get the shape, 48 pixels like before, set our color. And then we have this image in the middle. Let's actually move this image out of the way so it's easier to see. So we're gonna reuse our Upsplash plugin. So let's find that. Sorry, Unsplash, not Upsplash. And then we'll just find a random image that we can use to fill this. Okay, so here we have our image. And now we add that gradient. So we actually shouldn't be using black. We should unlink that instance and then change this diamond to work. No, that's not gonna work. Angular. Nope. Okay, so a disk shape or disk shadow is a bit weird. It's a combination of multiple shadows. Let's just do this one for now. Okay, so for now we're gonna set it to this, and we're gonna turn this into a component. So let's rename this. We'll create a component and then we'll rename this into disk. Okay. Now the good thing about setting a component is that later when if we decide to fix the gradient, oh wow. Let me just fix that. Later on, if we decide to fix the gradient on this, it'll change on all our UIs that we're using. So, you know, no need to worry there. So this disk is gonna be there. Okay, so now we have all our assets finally for the For You page. And what we can do is move on from the design system part of this and go into designing. So we need to start with a frame. Now to create a frame, you press A and then you'll see different phone sizes on the right. In case you have not been aware, I've been designing for an iPhone. These are all iPhone screenshots. So we're gonna put in iPhone, it's actually an iPhone 11 or an iPhone X. They're the same dimension. So we go to the side and we can select that. So from there, let's just get our reference first, and then it'll be easier for us to put together. Okay. So once we have our reference, we can just start sticking things together. So something that is quite obvious is that, you know, there's a giant image. So we're gonna press R to create a box, and then we're gonna right click on this and use the Unsplash plugin to find an image. Okay, sure, it's a TikTok about a steak. I mean, that makes sense, right? So yeah, now we have our video file. We can start dragging in other assets. So we drag in the bottom nav. So all we have to do is align it and then send to the bottom. We bring in our description, which we already set up. So this is going to fit at the bottom. It looks about right. Okay. Next, we'll drag in our little disk on the side. Okay, if you want to look at spacing, you can press Option and then you can see how spaced away something is from the side. It actually looks like this is too thin, so usually apps like to do a 16 pixel padding. So that's what I assume the padding is on this one. Nope, it's not 16 either. Actually, you know what? Let's just find out. Okay, so they're using 12 pixel padding on theirs. So we're at 14, push it back 2 more. Okay, there we go. So it means the same thing for this. We got 8, now we're at 4, okay. Okay, so now we add in the sidebar. 12 pixels from the side, perfect. Just bring that down a bit so this is the same as our reference. And to top it all off, the For You tabs. Okay. Actually, it looks like this is given a bit of opacity. So we can go to the master, change this opacity to match all the other opacities, which is 60. And then we can go back. And there we have it. It does look like there's a bit of a gradient here though. So let's add that first and then we'll call it. Okay, so we add our a quick way to add a gradient is just select your color and then detach. And then when you set the gradient style to linear, it should use your base color, and then you can just rearrange things based on that. Okay, so it's not a full black gradient. So my assumption is 40%. Okay, Okay, so we've set that gradient. And now we send it to the back. There we go. And that's our TikTok. We designed TikTok. Yes. Okay, so there are like a few finishing touches that you can add, primarily to do with the actual device UI. So for an iPhone, you have this status bar at the top, and then you have this navigation bar or swipe bar at the bottom. So let's just add that in. I already have iOS library in my libraries, so we'll try and get that up. Is everything loading? Okay. So you want to search for the status bar or the status header. So I'm getting my status header and putting that right at the top. It seemed as though they use the white version on TikTok. And then what do we call the thing at the bottom? I actually don't know. Home indicator? Okay. So yeah, it's called the home indicator. And we put that at the bottom. And there you have it, guys. Actually, they don't have. We just recreated TikTok app. Look at that. It looks just like the originals, right? Okay, I know I said we designed something else, but this took way longer than I thought it would. So we're gonna end it there. Come back another time if you want to see me design other things, or if you want to learn how to design other things. Yeah, just leave a comment, tell me what you thought about this. If you found it useful, let me know. But yeah, that's designing the TikTok app from start to finish. I don't know what you might do with this mockup, but if you want to take it, if you want to design your own video or content consumption app, just go ahead. I'm gonna make this available. Check the description for the download details. Thanks for joining me. Oh, right, one last thing. If you want to see what it looks like on a phone, you can go into prototype, and you can set your prototype starting position. So show prototype settings. There is currently no starting frame. So yeah, just click play at the top right. It might take a second to load, but make sure you set your device settings. So we want to see it on an iPhone. Let's go with an iPhone 11 with a midnight green bezel. And there we go. There's our app. If you want to resize it, you can set it to fit. And look at that. It looks just like an iPhone playing TikTok. Okay, so we're done. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more, let me know what you want to see. Maybe we'll do other parts of TikTok. Probably not. We'll do another app. But yeah, let me know what you thought. And I guess if you want to keep up, subscribe. We'll go through another 1 hour of designing something, or maybe I'll do something a bit shorter. So thanks.